Hello everyone. In this video we're going to discuss cover page, blank page, and page break. And you're going to find this in Microsoft Office 365 under your ribbon. It's under Insert, and under your page groups you're going to see Pages, and you have three options under this group. So I want to explain the difference between page break and page breaks. Plus we're going to talk about cover pages. Now one thing I want you to be aware that you have page break, and there's another thing called page breaks, which you would find under layouts, and you have breaks, and we'll discuss a little bit about that, but not a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into the insert and talk about this, especially the difference between a blank page and page break. Okay, so let me bring a document over here, and this document has I've created a bunch of pages so that you could see how it works. Okay, so watch. First, if I click here and go hit enter blank page, watch what it's going to do. It's going to create a blank page in between here. See where I placed it, it created a blank page. Now whenever you're inserting blank pages and pages, it's a good idea to always use your the show/hide, okay, because this will give you your your symbols as to if it's a return, tab, page break. And the reason I'm saying that is because, and you can toggle it off and on, because right now you see if I click on the right hand side of page break and I start typing, I'm just going to put I am typing. You see what it did? It brought the right hand page to the left hand, right? And okay, so let's hit Control Z. That's undo. Now if I go to the left side of page break and I'm going to type I am typing. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn off this so that you can see. You see the difference? So now with me, I don't have to have that off and on, this hide view, or excuse me, show view, because I know when I'm looking at a cursor and I know there's a blank page there because I'm the one that inserted, I know that I need to click on this side, because if I click like in the middle of the page, it's going to take me right there. Remember, and if I start typing, it pushed everything to the left. So whenever you enter that and you click here and you're like, oh, you think you're going to start typing, make sure that the cursor's on the left hand side, even if you decide not to use the show and hide feature. Okay, so that's the difference between those two. Now now let's go in the let's go ahead and undo all of this. Okay, so if I went in here and entered right here, right in this area here, if I enter a page break, you're going to see a complete blank page to the right of this. Okay, so if I hit blank page, you see there's nothing here. And remember, you got to be careful where you start typing to or copy and pasting on this page. Now, that is how you use blank page. Okay, so now let's do a page break. Okay, so why would you use a page break? Because if you don't know about page breaks, let's say that you wanted this sentence in the on the next page, right? You probably would do this right here. Hit returns until it went to the next page. And yeah, that would work as long as you didn't do nothing to the document. Because if I went in and inserted text at the end, so look, I want to hit a return, hit control, add more text. Look what happens down here. Because we don't have a page break, we have nothing but returns. Okay, now let's go and undo Shift Y. Okay, excuse me. Control Y, Control Y, Control Y. Okay, so so let's go in here, and I'm going to show you what when you go insert and use a page break, what it does. Remember, you don't want to keep on entering to bring this part to the next page. You can just tell it page break. Okay, so if you tell it page break at the beginning of whatever you want to go to the next page, it takes it to this page. And the difference between doing that and hitting returns, now here, so let's say here, give me a second here, let's copy this. So you can hit returns, and you can hit, text a lot of, put more words in there, but look, nothing happens here. That's the difference between those two. Okay, now, before I start talking about page covers, I want to show you the difference between page break and page breaks. So, and I'm not going to go over this too much because I'll be discussing this when we get into the layouts and breaks. But one thing I do want to show you the difference between both of those. Okay, so I'm going to delete these things here. Oh no, I'm going to leave it like that because I have a page break here. If I'm on this page and let's say I decide I want this particular page and anything past this page, I want it to be instead of 8.5 by 11, I want it to be 11 by 8.5. I would go to under orientations and change it to landscape. But look what it did. It did all the pages, right? Let's say that I don't want that. I want everything from this page on, or let's say 4 or 5 pages to be, some of them to be landscape, landscape, and some of them to be portrait. Okay, so let's remove those page breaks, right? Okay, now everything's back. This time we're going to go to layout. We're going to hit break. You see right here, next page. We're not going to discuss this other stuff. You'll learn about that later, but we're going to hit next page. Almost, it's at the same word, right? But it's under a different category. So we're going to hit next page. You see how it brought it to the next page? Now, from here out, let's say that I didn't want an 8.5 by 11. I wanted first decide, okay, you know what? I'm going to change from portrait to landscape. Look, anything past that mark, it is 11 by 8.5. Everything down here is 8.5 by 11. Let's say that you had from this page forward, like let's say you only wanted 2 pages to be 11 by 8.5, then you would click here, and then you would go to your layout, breaks, and then do a page break. You know, of course, you would want to delete that extra return it creates for you. Then from here, since this is a page break, even though right now it's 11 by 8.5, you haven't told that you wanted a different page size. So now I can get to my orientations and do portrait. Now look what you have. Now you have a 2 8.5 by 11s. You got 2 11 by 8.5s, and thereafter you got 8.5 by 11. Okay, so why is this important? It's very, very important, especially with somebody that creates. I teach, I help people. I'm an independent adjuster, and I help a bunch of people in their careers. So whenever they put me in charge, or I become a team lead, or I hate being in charge. I hate babysitting, but sometimes I'm forced into it. But kind of, I create forms for people. For instance, like I don't know if anybody knows what being a TWIA adjuster is. There's different fields that you get into in the insurance business, but we have a program called Xactimate. And in Xactimate, we have to do a bunch of changes to each document. So I create these things for me, plus then I show other people when they're having problems. I'm like, well, this is, remember the instructor told us to do this. So at the end of every lesson that I take from an insurance company, I create myself little, what I call SOPs. I was in the military, so we call them SOPs. And it tells me what they want changed and what they don't want changed in the program or the documents that we're creating for them. Okay, so it's easy to view it on a 11 by 8.5, but sometimes that's not big enough. And so what I do is I would go in and create different size pages. For instance, this particular page, this instruction fit perfect, not perfect, but pretty close, on a 11 by 8.5. But then I had two of them that really weren't big enough, and they were too tall for 11 by 8.5. So I created a 11 by 17. Okay, now that's good for this page. Now excuse me, this right here, we're talking about this. But then this particular page, that wouldn't work for me because I needed to see all of these documents all in one page. So this page here is a 17 by, I think it's like 14. So you can, if you don't remember what it is, all you have to do is go to layouts and go to your page size. And since this one's a custom page, you go to more pages and it'll show you that it's 18 by 14. Okay, so that is the reason you would use things like that. Now, if you notice, you see all these little boxes, and some of my documents, you'll see arrows. In other words, you click here, and I have arrows. That way it shows what's next. You'll be seeing that because right now I've already talked about everything under home. We're under insert, and I'm going to show you insert is a real cool area to to learn, and that's what I'm going to be teaching this week. Thank you for watching my video. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. I hope you become a subscriber, and we will see you on the next video.